Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrology.com here with astrological update for January. Sorry. And we're entering a month and a half of the most dynamic, interesting, and let's say stressful and most happening time of the year 2021. After that, things will calm down. But January, February, wow. Tighten up your belts. It will get very exciting. This is when the big squares between Jupiter and Uranus and Saturn happen, but we're going to focus just on the next 7 to 10 days. We don't want to run ahead with ourselves. We're going to look at how it's affecting the world and how it's affecting you personally. And we're going to go through the 12 signs, especially with focus on the new moon in Capricorn that is coming very soon on January the 13th, I think it is. Let me just check. Yes, January the 13th. And the Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury conjunction. Okay, so if you're watching TV, which I rarely do, but you can't escape the news, you see what is happening in the world right now. And I want to share with you my screen so you can see. This is my transit calendar 2021. You can check it out. It's on sale still. It's 130 pages. It's interactive. It shows you and it interprets every important event astrologically day by day. And as you can see, from Wednesday the 6th, Saturn became invisible. Usually it takes a week to become invisible all over the world, but Saturn is equal to someone in power, someone in government, some institution or an elder person. And when it becomes invisible, this is the end of something. So maybe for some of you, it can, equate it with what is happening currently in America. The old regime is, a lot of people still had hopes, but with the events, it's extinguished already. There is no possibility that, people that voted for the current president, he'll carry on. So that's Saturn indicates like the Saturn setting becoming invisible indicates the ending of some regime or Saturn structures, powers, people in power of some sort. But it also can create a bit of anarchy when Saturn, the planet which rules control and kind of disappears around the few days around it disappears, it can become chaotic as well. You also see that we have Mars entering Taurus, and it's going to be making quite a few challenging aspects from there, let's say. And this already will start shaking up the economy because, Mars is a sign connected to economy, finances, and the stability, food, supply chains, and all such. And Mars will be in Taurus for a long time, till basically even into February, the 2 months, which are, as I keep thinking, these are the 2 most challenging months of the year 2021. And it's going to square all the planets in Aquarius. And Aquarius is social unrest, and Mars activating it, it's going to get crazy. And the social unrest will come because people are worried for food, people are worried for material stability, people are worried for such kind of basic things for survival, which is Taurus, money, stability, security, and that will activate all the planets in Aquarius, which rules society, people, the hoi polloi, you and me, the normal people. So whoa, it's gonna get exciting, scary as well. But let's see, let's go day by day. And I made a video about Saturn disappearing. It's becoming invisible from the last 10 days. It's been becoming invisible. Started from December 30th. It finishes, and it will be invisible till February sometime. So it might feel a bit like, especially for Aquarians and Saturn people, they need to step back a bit. But you can watch my video from 10 days ago, something like that, where I speak about, or the monthly videos for January, I think, for December, where I explain what Saturn becoming invisible means personally for you. Then Mercury, though, is becoming visible this week. So you count 7 days before and 7 days after the exact appearance of Mercury. So these 14 days are very pivotal for Mercury. So that's good. When a planet becomes visible, all the external activities connected to it, and in this case, Mercury is writing, speaking, launching business projects, marketing, advertising, communication, some collaborations for work, intellectual work, of any sort, publishing anything, anything to do with internet, launching any information, launching any courses is auspicious. Mercury will be visible till the end of the month. Mercury is rarely visible, so use that opportunity. And at the same time, Mercury is entering Aquarius, where it feels very happy. Astrologers say that it's even its sign of exaltation. So Mercury becomes extremely strong and visible. So anything to do with especially Aquarius is one of the signs of business, big networks. Such activities will be favored. They will give results, even though Mercury will do a lot of challenging aspects. So there will be hoops you have to overcome. But because the planet Mercury is visible and it's direct and it's in a sign where it feels very strong, a lot of business activities should go well. Even, I don't know, some astrologer says Mercury stock markets, but also you should see Mercury is about signing any deals, contracts. So I advise you do it before the end of this month, January, while Mercury is visible, moving direct, because after that it becomes invisible and retrograde at the same time. You can see at the end of the month. So if you have some deals to sign, some contracts, some important documents, to post letters, or to approach someone and communicate and share ideas, or launches of websites or launches of products, it's good to do it while Mercury is visible. Also organizing some trips, organizing any communication activities, anything to do with all those Mercury activities. It's best to do it in this period. And as you can see, Saturday 9th, Sunday 10th, Monday 11th, and Tuesday the 12th, they're all with Mercury transits. Wow. Mercury square Mars, Mercury conjunct Saturn, Mercury conjunct Jupiter, Mercury square Uranus. Wow. So it means that these few days, the flow of information will increase so much because Mercury rules those things. There is a lot of, you'll be receiving some important news, communicating important things. There can be a lot of activity on social media, because now we can't be directly social in most cases. And a lot of those aspects are quite challenging. Mercury square Mars, Mercury conjunct Saturn, Mercury square Uranus. So you might be doing those mercurial activities, but there'll be a lot of surprises. There'll be a lot of things that you have to overcome. But don't forget, Mercury is direct and exalted and visible already. So a lot of strength given to Mercury. So you'll be able to come around it. But I expect a lot of surprising news the next 7 days. I expect a lot of kind of, let's say, also Mercury's communications between people. And in social media, again, Mercury square Mars, this is tension, fighting on personal level, or with people you don't know online, or with colleagues. The stress is there. There is not seeing eye to eye. It's clashing. Mercury conjunct Saturn. First, the passions run high with Mercury square, then it can turn into resentment or into a blockage of some sort, or some delay connected to information, to communication. So also protect your communication devices, phones and such, because of the most stressful aspects, basically. But it also can mean, even despite of the difficult aspects, that you're doing some very important mercurial work. Mercury square Mars, Saturn, and there is a conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter protects that, It might be a little bit bipolar. One day you're stressed out about some project that you're doing, which is Mercury organizing, managing. The next day there is problems to solve, Mercury Saturn. Then the next day it's resolved, Mercury Jupiter. Good news. Then Mercury square Uranus, a big surprise after that. So be prepared for such things. But a lot of mercurial, despite of the difficult aspects, mercurial jobs and work is really bam, 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 bam. A lot of things can be done. And that's like whether you're making videos, writing, communicating, teaching, skills of any sort, making reports, being in meetings and discussing something, or contracts or whatever. These are very happening aspects. And if you can see, What can it mean for the world? Well, people fighting more. There can be some threat to devices, to communication systems. You know, you never know. Mercury rules. It is connected to uh, internet and anything. And I've been saying, and I'll repeat it again this year, is kind of dangerous about hackers attacks. On a personal level or on a grandest level, because Aquarius is activated, especially the next 2 months, where Aquarius, which rules the internet and networks, is squared by Mars and Uranus uh, in Taurus. So I'm kind of, I hope it doesn't come true, but there is a bigger possibility for hackers attacks of any sorts, you know, because Uranus is difficult aspect to those planets. And it doesn't have to be, I think one already happened. Some friends told me, because I don't watch much the news, because I get like, it's one already happened, but there might be more of those. And another thing is Mercury rules the nervous system. So watch out, the end of this week, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th onwards, you know, that the start of the next one, it's just the nerves are overstimulated collectively or personally, especially people who are Virgos, who Virgo Sun, Moon, or Rising, or Gemini Sun, Moon, or Rising. They can feel especially activated because there's powerful activation aspects to move, to get things done, to fix something, to improve something, to change something, you know, because Mars and Saturn, they want to do the difficult job, but also triggered with their nervous system. But collectively, everyone will feel it, especially if you're having transits of Mercury happening. You can see if you're having any special transits of Mercury happening from your birth chart, from the birth chart calculator at Astrology. I don't know how, maybe a lot of you are using it. We have 40,000, I don't know, maybe 50,000 people already using it. But, you know, these transits that I'm talking about, that we're discussing currently now, they're transits that are happening for everyone. But if you want to see if it will personally affect you, let me just see. Where is that? Where is my Zoom? Oop. Stop screen share. Start screen share. My desktop. Okay. Sorry. Here it is. You can go at Astrolada. Okay, I'm talking about viruses and ransomware, and it happens on my laptop, if you can see here. But yes, you can sign in, log in. If you don't have an account, register. Let's see how you can check if Mercury that is happening, all those 4 important transits of Mercury, and plus because Mercury is becoming visible now and is entering exaltation, this is very important because it becomes 3 times more powerful. It's very important for you to see if you have any Mercury transits happening in the next few days, basically the next whole week and the end of this one that I'm making the video. So click on your profile. I'm clicking on mine. Most of you have only 7 days for free unless you've paid for the longer version. And let's see those days if I have any Mercury aspect transits. Mercury transits, as you can see here, are in green. My God, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm gonna be one of those people feeling the Mercury transits the most. So I might be entering, and you have to see what aspects Mercury is doing because this is how it activates your personal planets the most. And you can read what it means for you. You know, you can click on it and so on, but sorry. If it's good aspects like sextiles, trines, it shows here. Mine's are mostly good, sextiles, trines, and so on. Despite of the difficult Mercury aspects that are happening in the sky, the square with Mars, with Uranus, this conjunction with Saturn, you'd be able to take this difficult energy in the cosmos that's happening and transform it into something you know, easier, more positive to flow. If you're also having difficult Mercury aspects, transits, which is green, you'll see green transits, but with a square, you know, it will say square or opposition or even conjunction. Then you have to be a bit more careful. You might be triggered to get angry, to get resentful, some obstacles to overcome as well. But definitely the flow of information will increase. There is so much activation of the mind, of busy, fast events developing, and anything to do with business, and so on. But also Mercury in Aquarius is known to be very much about the truth, the heart, the facts, the scientific, to the sticking to the scientific facts, which is a little bit actually good because we've been having Rahu in the sign of Gemini, which is a Mercury ruled sign, and Gemini rules the media and information, and Rahu is a planet that can bring deception. You don't know who to trust. I mean, I don't trust mainstream media, but I don't trust also the other, because there's so much fake information on mainstream, and on the others, like now with the social media, everyone can make up their own stories, and it's been going crazy. Rahu I spoke when Rahu entered Gemini 6 months ago that you have to be careful about your sources of information. But Mercury, the ruler of Gemini now, is going to become for 2 months, because it will be in Aquarius for 2 months, very dignified, and the truth will start kind of being sorted out from the misconceptions and the lies, because Aquarius is one of the signs that is very attuned to truth, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is and Saturn, and Uranus is very much about divine wisdom and powerful intuition to figure out what the truth is. So that there'll be a little bit of hope with that on a collective level. Okay, so how do I go back to, sorry, let's continue here. What else is happening? So very hectic for business, for communications, for information overflow those few days till the middle of the week. And then we're having the new moon in Capricorn. You can see behind me the map. And the new moon in Capricorn, I'm going to speak a bit more in depth about it, but I want to continue here to the moment where Jupiter becomes invisible, and Jupiter is square Uranus. So let me go back a little bit to my screen. And stop share. I hope you see me. This is the chart of the new moon. New moon is a new beginning. New moon means it affects the next 30 days, and it is happening in Capricorn in the same degree, very close, within 1 degree of where the Saturn Pluto conjunction was in January 2020, which triggered the coronavirus crisis, which triggered the draconian measures of the government. So it is reactivating that. You see, and I think that will be the last time Capricorn has so much power this year, and it's had a lot of power for the last 3 years. And there's like one last Capricornian push. I'm not saying that Capricorns are bad people or anything, but in mundane astrology, in world astrology, what usually manifests is the lowest common denominator of a sign. And the lowest manifestation of Capricorn is control, draconian measures, safety, restrictions of movements. Usually people individually can manifest the very much higher manifestations of Capricorn, you know, collectively. And that's being more introspective. That's about having self-control and discipline. So they're amazing Capricorns, but collectively, especially because the new moon is, look, with Pluto. Pluto is conjunct there. If you can see Pluto, that's the blue thing, sun and moon together, mother and father joining to give birth to something new, reactivating the draconic Saturn-Pluto conjunction in a Capricorn, which is what we call the elites, Saturn-Pluto, that control behind the scenes, and the new moon activates that. So there'll be a strong push for more control, maybe for a month, a strong push for tightening measures even more, a strong push on limitations that are happening, because Pluto is ruthless. It wants to control. Capricorn wants to control, combined with Pluto. It's kind of a psychopathic extreme control. Maybe it is needed, you know, if you're on the narrative of deadly disease killing people all over the world. It is happening, but it's not the plague. You'll be like, yes, we need those measures, and it will give you a sense of stability. But I think before it eases off, it's going to become tighter. And you see, something very interesting will be happening at the same time. And of course, it has positive manifestations on, we call governments tighten down, try to control more. But on the personal level, this full moon new moon, new moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto can play out its higher octaves, which means new beginnings, which powerfully transform your life, which is Pluto, which might be triggered by a crisis again, which is Pluto, which have a lot of intensity and passion in them, which is again Pluto. You see how many different ways it can play out. Will work out in a certain area of your life. And we're going to speak about that when we speak about the 12 signs, how the new moon is going to affect them. For example, for Aries will be career, for Taurus will be something to do with belief systems and so on. So on a personal level, it can give some really intense, powerful new beginning. And especially it's so important when you start something new, which is new moon, if it has a lot of emotional charge behind it. It's like launching rockets. If the initial launch gives it a big thrust, it will go much further and higher and far away. So it will trigger something in your life new. For some, it might be relationships, a project, health, whatever. But it will have a lot of intensity behind it. So it can be really long lasting. Plus, this new moon is happening in the constellation, ancient Vedic system that looks at constellation called Uttara Shakha, which is the second winner. And it's known that when you start something, when this constellation is triggered, and in this case, it's with the moon and sun and Pluto, it has long lasting. It's something long lasting that stays in your life, that gives long-term results. You might start something horrible, and it's going to have long lasting results. The stars it compels this new moon, this impulse to do something extreme, direct, focused, but it might be something, something that is detrimental to you. It might be something very positive. We'll look at both of things. So speaking about the collective picture, though, it can feel very, very, with Pluto, very extreme, very, Pluto is hate and love. Pluto is very combustible. It can explode. And look, at the same time, Uranus and Mars are, Mars and Saturn are square, very exact, and conjunct Uranus. So this new moon is very explosive collectively. Saturn and Mars are completing their last square. They started squaring in 2020 from August and carried on. Twice it happened. Oh no, even maybe from July. Yeah, something like that. And you saw when Saturn and Mars was squaring, what started was big clashes, fighting. So, it was tense on a personal and a collective level. And now it's like a final performance, but they've moved signs. So now the clashes are much more on economic basis because of Aquarius and Taurus, on a much more society, like large groups clashing with each other. But it's like the resolution, it's the final peak of this conflict that's been going on. But it moves to different areas. People are more triggered because of financial situations, because of economic situations, and it's social unrest. I cannot put it in lighter terms. The next 2-3 weeks, guys, I'd say even a month and a half, there is going to be a lot of social unrest. And I don't think it will be too much politically motivated even anymore, because Saturn Mars, when they squared from Aries and Capricorn, it was a bit more about that. But when it's from Aquarius and Taurus, these are much more about resources. This is much more about security, stability, finances. Both Aquarius is market, Taurus is finances. So I'm thinking, it will have a lot more to do with that when social unrest happens for the next couple of months. And yeah, I'm just warning you, so large groups of people, Aquarius, can clash. Um, so, but the other thing is, you see strong control. At the same time, the government is trying to put strong control, restrictions, Capricorn new moon. But at the same time, we have Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury moving already in Aquarius. And that is people rising up. This is people wanting freedom. So just like the desire to control is increasing, also the desire to rebel and to look for freedom and to search for your rights, even just to do social unrest, is increasing. So we'll see those two streams, very strong Capricornian that we talked about, how it will play out, very strong Aquarian, which will play out like people saying, oh, I've had enough. Like the hoi polloi, the average Joes that are not billionaires, the ones below billionaires, even millionaires are now the average Joes, and they will start getting more and more power activation with 3 planets there. And they will start, that's why, they'll start as a result to rebel against those more draconic controls that the new moon in Capricorn is activating. And it might get even violent because of the Mars square to all those planets, because Mars is violent, Mars is angry, Uranus makes it even more volatile. Again, nervous system, people, watch out the nervous system. Uranus also rules it, Mercury square. Psychosomatic, psychological situations as well. Also the sex organs in the next 2 months, because Taurus and Scorpio rule the axis of the sex organs and the throat, and Aquarius, that is activated very difficultly, and Leo rule the circulation and the heart system. So what can happen is that there will be increase in strokes, heart attacks, or heart palpitations, heart irregularities, circulation irregularities, and also the axis of Taurus and Scorpio, which is the sexual organs, the reproductive organs, and the vocal and throat and thyroid as well. These are the 4 areas to be very cautious about in the next month and a half, 2 months, because they're strongly triggered. And I can tell you, I'm Aquarius rising and I'm having such problems with circulation already. It's like I'm constantly cold on my hands. So yeah, you have to, I don't know what to do, but some calming, especially especially herbs that calm the nerves and so on. Okay, so it's getting intense. It's getting interesting. How can it play out in your personal life? We'll speak about each of the 12 signs. But I wanted to show one last thing that will give you a bit of hope. When Mercury, and we're going to talk about Gemini astrology, which has been recently decoded because it was written in a code, it was written in Gemini astrology. Ancient knowledge was coded when the Dark Ages came, Kali Yuga, 5,000 years, because they knew people cannot have access to this knowledge, so they coded them. And my teacher, Ernst Wilhelm, one of the most amazing minds of our time alive, he learned Sanskrit and decoded them in Gemini astrology, and he discovered that they had a very different transit system. And we started using it, so let's experiment with it. I've been using it on you. So they say that when a planet is in its own sign, and Jupiter and Mercury also activate that sign, the good manifestation of that sign comes up. So we have Saturn ruling Aquarius. They use ancient rulers always, traditional. Saturn rules its own sign. It's in its own sign. Jupiter is there, the manifesting planet, and Mercury just entered there, another manifesting planet. So the 3 requests for triple manifestation is activated for the sign of Aquarius. So if you're Aquarian, something good and it's for the positive manifestation of that sign. And talking collectively, I'm hoping that the positive manifestation of Aquarius will prevail over the negative, which is not rioting, but protesting, not being violent as a society, but standing up for our rights and having more power. So I'm hoping, and Mercury will be there for 2 months, January, February. So the voice of the people will be heard a bit more, I think so. But like as I said, the new moon in Capricorn is putting a lot of resistance. And maybe that's exactly this new moon in Capricorn with Pluto, even more control, is what triggers the people to play out. On a personal level, everyone will have Aquarius somewhere in their horoscope as counted from the ascendant, not so much from the sun, maybe more from the moon. Ancient astrology used the moon and the ascendant as the start of the horoscope only. But you can listen to your 3 signs. So everyone will have a place in their horoscope that for a month and a half, while Mercury is there, when both Saturn and Jupiter are there, it will have triple manifesting power. So we'll speak about that in a positive way. We'll speak about that when we talk about each of the 12 signs. And the last thing I wanted to share with you is, okay, let's share screen again. Look what is happening. Oh, this is such a busy week. I'm not talking about the small Uranus direct. There's so many things, we can't cover them all. Uranus direct is the planet. Uranus is the impulse for freedom, the divine wisdom in ancient in esoteric astrology. It starts to move direct, so it becomes stronger. It's not introverted. This impulse that is dissatisfied with the system, Uranus is the rebel, it becomes extroverted. So external actions rather than internally. When it was retrograde, it was like, it was preparing you. I'm dissatisfied with that. And then it turns direct and it's like a dam opens up and you're like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to go cut cords. I'm going to go, against that injustice, or I'm going to go and be socially active in something of importance to me. External actions. But I wanted to pay attention that on the 17th, huge event is happening. Jupiter is becoming invisible, first of all. You can say the whole week is under the influence of Jupiter becoming invisible because in ancient Babylon, 7 days before a planet becomes invisible and 7 days after gives the events of invisible Jupiter. I'm not going to, I can read to you specifically what it means. You can read it, here. You can stop it. I'm not gonna say it. But one thing that is more dangerous is that the protection of Jupiter disappears. Jupiter is a protector. When it becomes invisible, goodwill between people disappears, forgiveness, charitableness, high understanding externally. And also Jupiter rules judges, court systems, courts. Something can happen there, an important judge or someone in power as well. It's people, rich people, wealthy people. Watch out for events around such people, that someone leaves this world or leaves the political scene, or someone that, and it's interesting that inauguration day on the 20th here is very close. It's within the phase of Jupiter disappearing. That's kind of ominous financially for the reign. Because Jupiter is wealth, Jupiter is justice. So I hope it's not the case, but it's a president inaugurated during Jupiter invisible. This is something to note. Maybe something might happen with the Jupiter rules universities that get weakened, and Jupiter rules, and it becomes invisible in Aquarius, which is the economy, can weaken it. And Jupiter rules also judges and social welfare. Jupiter rules the judicial system. There might be some change that will happen. Okay, but the other big thing is that Jupiter will square Uranus. And I don't remember what I wrote about it. So I'm going to read you here. I wrote this a year ago. Jupiter is our collective and individual beliefs. This is from the calendar, and ideologies. The closing square. So this is the closing square between Jupiter and Uranus. It started the conjunction in 2010. And it took it 11 years, almost 12, to complete that, not to complete it, but for a closing square to happen. This is the closing square now happening. And it indicates a crisis of faith uh, and challenge to globalism indicated by Uranus, radicalized beliefs, radicalized like Uranus radicalizes, and Jupiter is the beliefs. Jupiter can expand and blow up social unrest and rebellion, anarchist or liberation civil movements, symbolized by Uranus, clashes in society because of differing ideologies, different ideologies. You're seeing it already. It's not exact on the day. It feels, you can feel it a month before, you can feel it the whole 2021 as well. This particular square happens in Aquarius and Taurus, which are signs connected to the economy and resources. Sudden changes connected with these will start happening globally. Since it is a closing square, it will initiate the breaking down of the old economic systems. So you see, I did this, I wrote this transit because I prepare my calendars a year in advance. And I wrote this a year ago. And it's already happening. And there was no idea of economic or financial breakdowns then. And it started to happen. So you just, if you follow the symbology of astrology and think deeply, you can really align to what is happening. This is the alphabet of God, astrology. Sudden, since it is, okay, lawmakers symbolized by Jupiter, we need to quickly create new such laws to adapt to the fast changes. The new laws, Jupiter will carry a very progressive and technological element, Uranus. Watch it when they start with all the surveillances and stuff, which can be challenging to the current social norms, Jupiter. By big spending, Jupiter is big spending on social programs and reforms, Uranus. So this will happen as well over the next 1 year, because this square is, even though it's exact just once now in January, it's the whole year is under its influence. Big spending on social programs and reforms, so it's good. I think there will be more stimulus checks for people that need it, but it will take down the economy furthermore. The financial revolution and innovation will be accompanied most likely by serious financial depression, which lasts throughout the 2 years of Saturn-Uranus square. Okay, I was 2021, 22, it should say here. Made a mistake in the same signs. Jupiter-Uranus square will challenge us to change quickly our social norms, beliefs, and sources of wealth. Of course, there are always people who can benefit personally tremendously by this square, by quickly taking advantage of the challenging times, finding sudden new opportunities for fast wealth and even windfalls. That's one thing that is known, even a hard aspect between Saturn, so between Jupiter and Uranus. So the next 2-3 weeks, watch, suddenly something appearing out of the blue like a windfall, an opportunity, and you have to be very fast and grab it, because after that Uranus will square Saturn so it can disappear. So big opportunities on a personal level can also help. New exciting ventures for wealth will appear amidst the crisis, but one needs to be very tapped into the collective pulse to quickly react. Okay, same thing. New leaders, teachers, ideologies, visions of the future and worldview represented by Jupiter and worldviews will quickly appear, but also bring social tension because it is a hard aspect. So new gurus, new ideologies, they're already appearing. And those new beliefs, new ideologies, they'll create social tensions, Uranus. New means of long distance travel can appear. Well, it's not yet teleportation, unfortunately. I wish it was already. But it can trigger that new devices of transport will be announced, or new such projects that will be started in the next month, too. There might be the beginning of it, and it will take maybe a few years for it to fully arrive, but something like that. Or it might be that they've created it already and they bring it out to the market. On a personal level, this can be a time for you to open up to new realities, points of view, and horizons. Yes, break down the old beliefs. Uranus, it's a closing square. Uranus wants to destroy, kind of shake up, not destroy, shake up your beliefs and your perception of reality. So shock things happen. When Uranus challenging, especially about your beliefs, what reality is, especially for the last 10, 15 years, Uranus can shock it. So I expect shocking again, like information to appear, shocking the Jupiter rules the truth as well, and Uranus is aligned to the truth. So something that will, on a personal level, that brings out something important about the truth, or on the external level in the world. But again, it can create tension because it's a square. Plus, you're gonna see the Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter aspect affect you if you're having any Uranus or Jupiter transits in your horoscope. I showed you how to check for that on the transit calendar. So if you see any time during the next 1 month, during January, basically, an orange transit, which is a Jupiter transit, or a dark blue transit, which is Uranus transit, in your transit calendar that I showed you, this Jupiter-Uranus square affects you, and all the things that I mentioned here, all the things that I talked about, it's not going to happen just collectively for the world. It's going to happen for you on a very personal level. Let me see what else. New exciting ventures, new leaders. On a personal level, this can be time for you to open up to new realities, points of view, and horizons, to take advantage of the social and financial innovations and implement them in your work and goals. So some big changes happening, and technological, especially Jupiter is about wealth. Uranus challenging with square. So you need to make, some of you might, especially if you have this aspect, either Uranus or Jupiter activating anything in your horoscope. I showed you how to check. You might have to make some quick innovations connected to your wealth, to finances and resources, connect as Jupiter, or some quick innovations to your knowledge, like get up a quick crash course, or the need to quickly integrate some new technology into business, or some new method of some sort, to create more. And it might feel disruptive, but it creates more abundance eventually, and new opportunities. You can awaken to a new, unusual sense of purpose that could be to do with teaching or law, philosophy or religion, long distance travel. It can bring opportunities for long distance travel as well. And okay, where's stop share. So it is exciting, actually. I like Uranus Jupiter squares because they bring opportunities. They force you out of your comfort zone, but not in a brutal way, in an exciting way. And the only thing with it is that if you rush too much, because it has this, or maybe, I think you have to act fast anyway. But if, I don't know, I've seen difficult aspects between Uranus and Jupiter bring good things, especially on a personal level. And Jupiter is to open up your mind, new beliefs, that Uranus brings that are exciting, new perspectives. It's also challenging your own beliefs. Okay, so I think that's a lot of it. Let's start sign by sign. I'll be very quick. Aries, the new moon activates your 10th house with Pluto. Some crisis situation at your career with authority figures, institutions, or bosses can push you into starting something new, or strong passion, desire, almost like obsessive trend to start something new in regards to those careers, desires, or executive decisions of some sort you have to take. Or there might be even the appearance of a new boss, father figure in your life, or new rules and regulations from the 10th house in your life that can feel a bit oppressive in the way of Pluto, that can feel a bit overwhelming as well, especially the later areas, those born after the 12th of April or the 10th of April till the 18th of April will feel it very strongly. Then you have those triple manifesting power in your 11th house areas, which is great. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. And if you listen to the first part, I spoke about the tremendous ability of this, according to Gemini astrology, to manifest, and it will stay like that for a month and a half. So watch out in the next month and a half that you create some very powerful collaborations or associations, meet important people of some sort. That the positive side of your 11th house is triggered, which is gains, which is big goals and dreams and wishes that you go towards, which is income of some sort, and which is friendships, social associations, social activism, belonging to a group of people. So such things will manifest. So that's good, gains and all those things, social influence, influencing others in some way. even businesses, and manifesting something through business. But of course, Mars and Uranus are challenging this, so there can be stresses there. There might be the need for certain expenses because of those new goals that you're having that are manifesting as well. Okay, if you're Taurus, the new moon is happening in your 11th house with Pluto. There can be powerful new beginnings in your life created by crisis in the direction of your life. Like you can find out new, more meaningful, more profound purpose for yourself. The 9th house is the house of meaning, purpose, or vision for your future that you can initiate with this new moon over the next 1 month. It might be preceded by a crisis of faith or existential crisis. It is Pluto after all. Maybe some change of direction or the new direction to study something, higher knowledge, or even some kind of a new journey or trip that is triggered for you, or new higher knowledge exploration into wisdom of some sort, even epiphanies of a spiritual nature, even kind of prophetic visions for yourself, for your future. And it doesn't have to be vision like vision, but like inspirations. At the same time, Pluto, Saturn, Mercury do the triple manifesting power because they're the combination for positive manifestation of a sign in your 10th house. And that will stay almost till the end of February. This is the time, if you're Taurus rising in particular, less a degree sun or moon, but still, that you can make some big manifestation with your career, with authority figures, with something important, with with your social status, with career, and it manifests. It gives results. Some career projects as well, work or bosses, authority figures, institutions. Okay, if you're Gemini, the new moon is happening in your 8th house. It can trigger, and it's with Pluto, transformation on a psychological level, emotionally. You've had a lot of those in the last 2 or 3 years, but it's like a one last push, like a one last clearing. It's a detox house, the 8th house. So you can find yourself some intense emotional, psychological insights, realizations happening. You can have like realization about that transforms you on a profound level, psychological, emotional. It can be a great time to start any occult studies, fantastic time with Pluto. You can start astrology course, or you can start psychology or tarot, or you can just delve into such matters. You can find yourself very much fascinated with that. You can also put the focus on starting some mutual financial deal with someone, or financial or mutual kind of mutual resources. It can be a new beginning in the finances of your partner, or something to do new beginnings, maybe preceded by crisis, because it's Pluto connected to taxes, insurances, inheritances, money from others, government, and so on. It's also some deep maybe can be also a restart of a intimacy area of your life. Some of you might be even the appearance of a deeply intimate sexual partner, maybe even private initially and more secretive, some kind of obsessive almost, some kind of obsessive. There is new moon every year in your 8th house. This one is a bit more special because it's conjunct Pluto, so it's intensified. And it's in the 8th house, which is about life and death, rebirth, intimacy, deep connection with another, and some secrets maybe coming out. Also, you can initiate some project about hidden money and so on, or receiving money from others. And then you have a triple manifesting power in your 9th house, Gemini. So for the next month and a half, almost to the end of February, this can mean that something very important of a more positive nature happens with your 9th house. Trip, higher education, teaching of some sort, a teacher appearing in your life, or you starting some teaching project, or doing it, or seeing the results, or manifesting it. Higher education, trip, foreign opportunities of some sort, legal matters that can go well, ideologies, belief systems, finding inspiration of some sort, as inspirational figure inspiration, And luck, ninth house is the house of luck. And a lot of self-knowledge. Ninth house, it's self-growth. It's one of the most beautiful houses. And when it's so beautifully triggered for there, some opportunity comes that allows you, and it doesn't even have to be external, it can be something internally happening that allows you to really understand yourself and who you are and your path and your future, and to see it clearly, to get like clarity about that. So that's very positive and supporting about the mission of Geminis, the direction, the inspiration, the vision for the future. It is a lucky house, lucky karma, and it's triggered so well. Then if you are Cancer, the new moon is happening in your seventh house with Pluto. Okay, they can be the start of a new business partnership or the start of a new phase in your relationship. Might be preceded by a crisis in interpersonal relationships. This is not just someone you're married with. This can be a close friend. This can be a client. This can be another person. Some crisis that triggers renewal of your relationships, or even the start of some new passionate encounter with someone, which can have quite sexual undertones because of the Pluto involvement, quite intense, even like obsessive energy there. Or they can be like a new phase in the life of a partner that you have, that they're starting on new, or you might decide to some existing partnership to, to do something differently there. It can also indicate a new contract that happens, a new and I think it will be good, and I think it will be long lasting, because it's happening in a nakshatra that indicates something that has long lasting effect, Uttara Ashatka. So anything to do with relationships, with starting a new project with another person, collaborating with another person, with the public and the audience, or sales and business. I think it will be quite good, actually. Pluto there can be some competition, there can be some power struggles with others to be expected around this new moon, clashes with others. It is normal, but Neptune is making sextile, so by forgiveness, you can work it out by gentleness. And then you have triple manifesting power for you Cancers in your, what is that? Cancer, 7th, 8th, in your 8th house. Oh, okay. So, but that's the positive side of the 8th house, it can manifest. So what's one of the positive sides? And that's for a month and a half, almost 2 months. This year will be very powerful, especially if you're Cancer rising or Cancer moon. Less so with the sun, but still, unless you have like many planets in Cancer with the sun, then you can feel this strongly. The powerful manifestation in a positive way of the 8th house is starting, of your 8th house. The 3 planets that can activate it are there. It's ruler Jupiter and Mercury, manifesting planets. First of all, resources from others can come to you. If you have some investment in stocks or something, it can start manifesting it for the next month and a half. If you've invested, whatever. Or your partner can get more money, or you can receive more money from clients, for example, or some tax refund, or some government stimulus, whatever it is. The 8th house is money, resources from others, or support from others that can come to you. Ask from others, you'll receive, or some psychological breakthrough you can have. It can even mean the deep, profound meaning of the 8th house is healing, transformational healing on a profound level that happens usually quite fast, like sudden shift of perspective, 180 degrees that, shakes you out of a stagnation. 8th house is also the house of sexual intimacy, sexual partners that are very intense, like Victor says, almost like a soulmate connection. So that's another possibility it can manifest for some of you. It can manifest something hidden. It can manifest studies in occult, in astrology, in psychology, diving into the forbidden, conspiracies or astrology, or like taboo information, or psychology, that reveals secrets, that goes to the depth of the problem. It can also indicate pregnancies. If you want to get pregnant, Aquarius, Taurus, rising Gemini, Rising Cancer, so sorry. It's because this video is so long, my mind starts getting jumbled. Cancer, moon, Cancer rising can be the time for the next month and a half, two almost. All right, if you are Leo, Sun, Moon, or rising, especially rising and moon because they're more personal. The new moon is happening in your 6th house, so it can push you into new beginnings in regards to your health, and it's been doing it for 2.5 years, but maybe to up your game there, or in regards to health, because might be preceded by some crisis. This is Pluto involved there. And I just want to relieve you that's one of the last hard activations in your 6th house for the whole year. So if anything appears like a crisis in health, it will push, and it's for the last time, it will push you to make some new beginnings there, to appropriate new, for example, new healthcare routines and so on. It can also bring some big transformation in your health. It's with Pluto after all. It can bring big transformation and new beginnings in your career, in your work. Maybe a crisis with an employee and it brings a new employee in your life. Or if you're the employee, some change at your work that pushes you towards change in regards to your work as well, new beginnings with work and so on. You can find a job, for example, or you can start some project behind the scenes, some 6 houses, the house of the apprentice, to perfect something, to make it, to improve it, that you put a lot of passion and intensity into. I hope it doesn't manifest the negative, like the beginning of a power struggle with people at work or some, such kind of things, but there's something new happening there. Then there is a triple manifesting power for you, Leos, in your 7th house. Yes, Saturn is opposing the sun of the early born Leos in July, that makes it a bit tough, and restrictions and having to be more discriminatory with others. But I want to tell you that ancient astrology, Gemini astrology, said that when Saturn is in its own sign and Jupiter and Mercury join, this is triple manifesting power for good. So I can see some Leo rising people find now in the next couple of months, while those 3 planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, are in their 7th house, triple manifestation, they can find a life partner, they can find a business partner, they can find someone to collaborate with, they can sign some important contracts, agreements, business deals, they can do some important business transactions of some sort and client interactions of any sorts. So yeah, interesting. Plus, I kind of noticed that it is connected to foreign countries, the 7th house. So first is close, the 7 is far away. Some of you might have such manifestation as to moving away or something like that to a foreign country. Okay, so interesting. Then if you're Virgo, the full moon with Pluto is happening in your 5th house, which means that they can be the start of a new passionate affair or kind of intensive one, or it can be the restart of a love life if you haven't been on a date, or if you 5th house is also to have fun. You can try and make more effort now in the next 1 month to restart that, to try again, to do something. And for example, my sister-in-law is Virgo rising, and she just finished work, and she says, I'm going to take maybe a few months, maybe a year time, so I can have fun again. This is the 5th house. And the new moon is like, with Pluto, I'm going to have fun passionately, or I'm going to make babies. That's another possibility. New beginnings. Pluto is a planet of conception. 5th house is children, or I'm just going to go and ferociously and seriously look after having fun, Pluto. Or some transformation about maybe I start a new hobby. Maybe I start a new business project. 5th house is if you have something that is your own idea, your own baby, that you launch that rocket with passion, Pluto, because Pluto new moon can start something that lasts very long time because of the intensity of feeling behind it. And 5th house is your, creative project, your own ideas that you can turn into business, for example. Okay. Then we're having triple manifesting power into, if you're Virgo, this is into your 6th, no, sixth house, yes, into your sixth house. And yes, it's tense. It's making a lot of square aspects for the next 2-3 weeks here, those planets in your sixth house of work. So there'll be some, you know, how do I say, there can be some stresses around it, but it will still manifest eventually. You know, it will still manifest the good of the sixth house. There'll be hoops to overcome and stresses around this, but you can manifest a new job, for example, triple manifesting power, or some manifestation, good results in your career, in your work. And you can manifest, and this is active for 2 months almost. Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn will be together till almost the end of February, because Mercury gets retrograde there. And especially when Saturn and Jupiter start becoming visible, they're in your sixth house, which is towards February, the middle and a bit later. This is when you can see powerful, powerful results. But the triple manifesting power is active for almost 2 months. And then it will be only double manifesting power, because Mercury will come out of your sixth house. So you can manifest new health routine, new, for example, you can start out working out like you've never had before. You can start eating differently. Again, my sister-in-law, she's like a clockwork with her Virgo ascendant. She just called me yesterday and said, I went sugar-free, alcohol-free, grain-free, dairy-free, and I'm starting to work out daily. And I'm like, okay, you're on time. Mercury is entering Aquarius, triple manifesting power with Saturn and Jupiter. You can also triple manifesting power thing with work, you know, and health and employees. You can manifest new employees. Or a pet, you can manifest a pet. Okay, or some meaningful job or project. Then if you are Libra, sun, moon, or rising, okay, rising, moon, or sun in the order of importance. The new moon with Pluto is happening in your fourth house. Oh, again, right on my husband's fourth house cusp, he's Libra rising. New beginnings in family. With Pluto, there might be some crisis that happens, a little crisis. These new beginnings might be triggered by a little crisis because it is Pluto. So this planet of death and rebirth. And so let's see what kind of, it might be a little bit intense, those transformations happening in your home area, family area. Or it might be with mother, father figures, but something new is brewing there, family member or new chapter or phase, or just renewing the home, or just now you're starting something with property, you know. But the element of crisis or extremeness is also there, psychologically, emotionally, or some kind of, you can start on a journey to discover some family secrets or some deep things. And you've been doing this because you had Saturn, Jupiter there. I think it's just like a retriggering of that. Renewal of home, place of living, something happening, there's some focus, definitely. But then you have Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, the triple manifesting power, according to Gemini astrology, ancient astrology that I talked about, in your fifth house. What is that? And it's for 2 months active. This can indicate that you might find yourself in a new romantic relationship, or it manifests the positive side of the fifth house. So a new creative project, a new passion, a new hobby, love life, focus on enjoying yourself, focus on finding, oh, big stain, sorry about that, Libra, sorry. So you can focus yourself on, not only focus, but manifest something good in your love life, an important love partner. And if this happens for my husband, it's obvious where the family crisis is going to come from. Just kidding, but it can be like you manifesting some fun times for you, manifesting something that you really enjoy, like a hobby, like a passion for sport, fifth house rule sport as well, manifesting sports that you do for fun that you enjoy, you know, or even if you go to the gym because you enjoy it, you can really manifest such things. You can manifest also romantic experiences, more fun, or new creative project, new passion, new hobby, or you can manifest business. Fifth house is business that is your own idea that you start putting into action, that it's like your own baby, you know. Okay. Then if you are Scorpio. Scorpio, the new moon with Pluto is happening in your third house, new beginning in your environment, for example, with new acquaintances, new people you interact with on a daily basis, new friends online, you know, communication information, you're starting to learn some new skill. Of course, because Pluto is involved, there can be crisis with such relationships, with siblings, with relatives, with teammates, workmates, mates, online with people. And this crisis can trigger you to maybe, I don't know, to start a new social media account or to start a new, you know, or it's work also in a team. You might start a new project with working in a small team with 2-3 people, for example. And because it's Pluto, there can be some intensity there. But it's also starting over the next month after the new moon, initiating new commercial projects, initiating new business project, initiating, launching, writing, speaking. And while Mercury is visible, it's very good if you want to post, for example, if you want to launch a new product, to make an advertisement of some sort, to attract more clients, to connect with people, to do it after the new moon. So 1 or 2 days after the new moon, so on the 15th onwards, till the end of the month while Mercury is visible, which also rules those things. Also, some trip can appear for you as an opportunity, or some change environment, you know, at work, with colleagues. Third house is your social environment as well. Okay, new writing projects, new speaking projects of sort, new skill acquiring. So I think it's quite good to just be careful for starting a new crisis with people, close environment people, and people on social media and such. Then you're having the triple manifesting power of Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury happening in your fourth house. And that's for 2 months, that all the 3 planets that, according to Gemini astrology, can activate the sign of together in a positive way, that they can activate despite of the difficult aspects. Yes, you'll have some obstacles to overcome, some blockages, some stresses, but something positive can manifest in your family and home life, a new home, place of living, property. And it will be activated quite a few times throughout 2021. So it's like an opportunity till the end of the year for you. But the first very strong period, this can happen, like new changes, big important things with home, with family members, place of living. You know, it will include responsibilities with that. But it's like buying property, selling property, manifesting place you belong, or vehicles even. Some say fourth house is vehicles, ancient astrology. And just be careful, because there's some tensions with Mars and Uranus squaring from the 7th house. So the new things that are happening in your home can be triggered or stress the relationship, or they can be triggered by a partner, by someone else, you know, another person. So there's the thing that is more dangerous for you is this Mars and Uranus in your 7th house, Scorpio. So you can find others that are a bit more challenging, and you can find yourself that you're more meddlesome in other people's business, because Mars rules you, and that you're more reactive towards others, and others are more reactive towards you, and that you might want to do some very sudden action in relationships. And just be careful that you don't throw out the baby with the water, as they say, like, oh, I'm done with that, I leave you, and this changes your place of living as well, you know. But there is like definite push for definitive actions, and that can stress you emotionally, but it can also indicate that another person or involvement with another pushes you into some big psychological changes, the 4th house, into some big even career changes, because they will affect the 10th house. All right, but there is possibility for you, especially the earlier born Scorpios, the October Scorpios, to clash heads with others a bit more. So because of the Uranus-Mars opposition, and to have sudden changes in their relationships for the whole year, but especially the next month and a half too. But already some powerful manifestations are happening for this 4th house that we talked about. And yeah, so new place of living, relocation, shacking up with someone, starting family, these are all 4th house things. Okay. But But just be careful if you want to keep a relationships with a business partner. If you don't want, it can break up a relationships, a contract. You can end the contract with Uranus and Mars in the seventh house, and you can end up a commitment to someone. But if you don't want to, just be a bit more cautious there. Don't be trigger happy, as they say, because it can bring shake-ups from time to time. Actually, not only the next month and a half, the whole year, especially for the October-born Scorpios, and up to the next 2 months in particular, at least. Okay, so if you're Sagittarius, the new moon is in your 12th house. Well, it can indicate some powerful discoveries and revelations that were secret because before of you. Something from your subconscious comes to the surface to be transmuted and transformed, which is what Pluto is, and you might be working on it for a month. Something from the past, forgotten memories, even past lifetime memories, but it's more psychological in influence. I think you'll be working on yourself psychologically, transforming such things. It's good for psychotherapy. It's fantastic for that, or studying something occult or spiritual, or meditation or spiritual practices, going within introspection. I'm talking total rubbish. I'm so sorry. I'm just looking at the map the opposite. Sorry, Scorpio. Where this is not your 12th house. The new moon is happening in your second house. It's happening for Aquarius in the 12th house. I'm going totally crazy here. Sagittarius, sorry. Let's start again. New moon in your second house. New beginnings in finances. Opportunity for some, new financial situation to gain something. It doesn't mean it will immediately give its results. New moons is just about the beginning in that direction, starting in that direction. It might be preceded by some crisis because Pluto is involved, connected to something financial, material, tangible, security-wise. So it triggers you to launch a rocket of desire, as Abraham Hicks says, to manifest new material security, new resources, and to start it. So that's a good time for you to do that. And you'll get a lot of insights about that for the next 1 month. Second house is how you eat food. If you have not transformed your dietary and what you eat, what you put in your mouth during Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto conjunctions in your second, now that there's another opportunity for you to do that, changing of your dietary habits. And then the full moon, the triple manifesting power of Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter that I spoke about in the beginning and how it's derived. You can watch the start of the video. It's happening in your third house. It can manifest the good side for 2 months of your third house. It can manifest, for example, a business project, a commercial activity, a writing project, writing a book, using your hands and skills to create something. Working in a small team environment towards some goal and getting results, seeing good results, even within 2 months already. Going on a trip somewhere, traveling, manifesting a vehicle, transportation, new type of transportation, manifesting, trips for the next 2 months. Even though there are challenging aspects, yes, there will be some stresses and stuff, but it will manifest it. Yes, you'd feel like, you're on the edge sometimes. Uranus, Mars are squaring Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury for the next, let's say, month, 2. But you're still going to be able to manifest those third house things in a positive way. It might be a new website or starting on a new business project because it's very commercial, business-oriented website house. It might be marketing, advertising success that happens for you already. The January, February, most part of February. It might be some trip. We talked about it. It might be about learning some new skill, using your intelligence, using your skills and knowledge and information. It might be about some very important news that you receive as well. So, and also creating social contacts that are important for you, attracting clients. Okay, then we're Capricorn. Capricorn, rising sun or moon. All right, the new moon is happening right in your sign with Pluto, especially the later Capricorns born from 24, 5th, 6th, 7th, no, 20, from the 20th till from the 10th till the 20th of January. Or it's the new moon is happening exactly 23 degrees in Capricorn. And 23 degrees is the later. But all Capricorn, there is a new moon in your sign. And Venus is there, so it's going to help you. New beginnings, guys. You're going to feel inspiration. You're going to start feeling like, sparkling ideas coming towards you. Take a pen and paper and write them down. This is a time of the year, even if it's your ascendant sign, the new ideas come. So it is inspiration, and there might be some crisis that triggers it as we talk. It's Pluto activated, but it will push you into a new beginning, new direction. Take the first action. You're the one that will feel this new moon the strongest. And as I said, it happens in a constellation that is called the later winner. So these people are always victorious, especially they start slow, but they always, whatever they start, so whatever project you start now, it might be about your health, about your physical body. First house is everything. If it's your sun, it might be about career and your goals. If your moon is in Capricorn, it might be about emotional relationship or something about health again, appearance, home, family. If it's your ascendant, it can be everything: health, body, direction in life. Whatever you start now, it can have long-lasting results, and it can have it's kind of supported by Pluto, strong desire and passion. And when you start something with strong passion, strong desire, it lasts much longer as well. But again, it can be activated by some kind of crisis as well that pushes you because of the intensity of feelings to make a big change, a new beginning. And you can receive support from a friend, Neptune in the 11th house, sextiling, from some group or from some online community to start this transformation, this big transformation and change in your life, or through a friend you rely on of some sort. And then Venus is in your sign for quite a while, which is good. So there's a bit more grace, there's a bit more joy and pleasure as well, the sensual pleasures. So love can come to you for the next 2-3 weeks while Venus is there as well. Pleasurable things, and Venus rules as well your 5th house. So more joys, romantic experiences can come to you. More fun, like a 5th house rules anything to do with pleasure, fun, hobbies. So at least Venus is really helping you. It's really on your side now. It's healing. And I think Capricorns need some healing because they had it the hardest for the last 2-3 years. And this new moon is giving them the opportunity to start anew, and Venus to heal the past, to heal all the tensions from before. With Pluto there, hopefully to start the new with more intensity. And then you have triple manifesting. What am I talking about? Yes, I think I was correct about Sagittarius, that is in the 12th house. Oh my God, I'm just getting so confused now. No, yes. Yes, sorry, this is correct. So Capricorn, Aquarius falls in your 2nd house. So this is definitely, and it's gonna have a triple manifesting trigger for the next 2 months with Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. So material manifestation in a positive way will come for you, Capricorns. You can achieve more money. You can do a project that creates more financial stability. You can move assets or do something important with your finances that should give good results, even though they're hard aspects to those planets in your 2nd house by Mars, by Uranus. Don't worry about that, because ultimately these 3 planets manifest the good signs. So yes, they will have some hoops, some stresses that you have to overcome. There might be some extra expenses and so on, but eventually those 2 months of triple manifestation in your 2nd house should create good results materially, financially there for sure. Opportunities that come of some sort as well. And connected to assets and valuables. Okay, so if you're Aquarius, the new moon is happening in your 12th house with Pluto. A lot of secrets coming to the surface. A lot of things from the past that you might become aware about and try to process them that you have forgotten. It's like they're reborn into your subconscious, into your imagination, and that you try to process psychologically. It can be a great time to work with a psychologist, to dive into mystery, into research, into spiritual readings, into working with transmutations of the energies of healing of the spiritual bodies, the astral, the whatever bodies, the etheric, the invisible ones, working with the chakras and things like that. It's very occult new moon with Pluto in the occult 12th house, in the very spiritual 12th house. You can receive messages, especially around the 13th, in your dreams, like very intense dream work. And you can find yourself transforming, transmuting a lot of the pain body and the things that have hurt you or that you're afraid of in your dreams. Pluto is transforming. The psychological work is bringing out the dirty stuff on the surface to confront them. 12th house is the past. Also, it can indicate that you trigger or find a new way of escaping reality or relaxing, like starting a meditation practice or having the need to escape into nature more. And you can have some intense realizations with Pluto insights in loneliness. 12th house is loneliness in meditation, or just in when you're quiet within, when you withdraw within. Actually, it's, you give yourself the ability, especially till the 20th, if possible, of January, to rest more if you can. Your 12th house is activated. Focus internally, focus on deep meaning, focus on healing the soul of some sort, taking long baths, walking in nature. This is the 12th house. And you have some deep insights that prepare you. Because from the 20th of January, the sun enters your sign. There'll be a new moon in Aquarius. You no longer can hide after that. After that, you're kicked into the public eye. You're kicked into some radical changes and new beginnings after the 20th of January. But already you're having triple manifesting power from, I don't know, 7, 8. No, when is it? When Mercury enters Aquarius? Yeah, from Friday this week, 9th, 10th of January, you're already having triple manifesting power in your sign. Have we not been waited for that? According to Gemini astrology, when the planet that rules the sign is inside, plus Jupiter and Mercury, the sign manifests the best it can give. Now we're going to have this for 2 months, Aquarius, in our sign. If it's your sun sign, it can be big manifestation with your goals or important male figure in your life, or in career or projects. If it's a moon in Aquarius, big manifestation in a positive way over the next 2 months that start happening with property, place of living, family, emotional relationships as well. Health even. Again, these are positive ones. Despite of the difficult aspect with Uranus and Mars, there will be stresses, there will be hoops to overcome, but the final result is quite good. And then if you are Aquarius rising, it's to do with the health, with positive manifestation. For example, organizing yourself to work out finally, having the strength to do that. I think that you will really start noticing the good aspects and more materially notice that when Saturn becomes visible from the middle of February sometime, I think it was. So you really come into your strength then, but already you have this triple manifesting power of Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter, so you can make things happen. And because Saturn is invisible, maybe you'd only start seeing the results fully in February when it becomes visible. But you have the power, you have the control now, Aquarius, to manifest new beginnings, to start, especially also after the 20th of January, when the sun also moves into Aquarius, and the new moon that will happen in Aquarius on the 10th or whatever of February. I'm not exactly sure which date happens. But before that, just rest a little bit more, maybe to the end of August even. August, I want to be in the summer, to the end of January. Because this 12th house new moon is asking you to gather up your energies a bit more, to relax a bit more, to regroup a bit more, to internally review certain things, and to give yourself a bit of slack. Because after that, there is no stopping you. With all the planets moving to Aquarius, you become a force of nature. February, phew, crazy stuff. February will be so happening, so hectic for Aquarians. But the triple manifesting power is active the whole, almost January, the whole February. So new beginnings, initiate for appearance, for health, if it's your ascendant, anything connected to new beginning in your life as well. New direction started now. Okay. And if you're Pisces, the new moon with Pluto is happening in your 11th house, allowing you to start some long-term project or a goal that you're very passionate about, that you're very intense about, that you're very excited about, Pluto, or some crisis can happen in friendships that pushes you to start a new beginning in your social interactions. Maybe, delete all the accounts, start new accounts on Facebook, or delete all friends, bring in new friends, new groups and belong, or even to join some social movements or some like-minded groups of people that you're very passionate about, that you're very intense about. 11th house is also gains, titles and honors. You can start on some path, take the first steps towards, say, a PhD, or towards some other title, towards more bigger salary or a bonus, or just to initiate some project that you want to be more gainful for your business. I'm not sure you'll see the results yet. Usually the results are seen when there is a full moon on that degree within a year and a half, but you're starting something new. Maybe a new person will appear in your life, new business idea as well, the 11th house. So you can initiate a new in the next month after the 13th of January. For a month till the next new moon, you can initiate some new product to bring it to the public, or you can launch a new business idea, which is 11th house, or new networking, or reaching for more clients and reaching wider audiences, and your charismatic nature, Neptune, and your very gentle approaches is what's helping you with that, and what's bringing you supporters as well from this 11th house. 11th house is supporters, people that like you, your fans, like-minded people, that they do this rather than opposing you. And with this Neptune in your sign is sextiling it, so you kind of come smoothly and peacefully, and I come in peace type of thing. Okay. And then you have triple manifesting power in your 12th house. What can it mean? That's for 2 months. Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury. And by the way, don't forget your planet Jupiter is becoming invisible on the, what is it? Jupiter is becoming invisible the whole week, next week, fully on the 17th, but depends which part of the world you're in. So you can feel like withdrawing a little bit, like resting a little bit, because this is becoming invisible in your 11th house as well. So give yourself enough time to around the middle of February to rest a bit more, or even till March season, to Pisces season, to rest a bit more, to explore new ways of relaxation, like meditation, like walking in nature. Maybe even it can manifest this 12th house triple manifestation, a holiday abroad. The only 2 places open in the world now are Dubai and Mexico, Tulum. I mean, a few other places. But I know you might be one of the lucky ones if you're, Pisces rising in particular, Sun or Moon as well to some degree, that you're able to escape and to have access to a foreign country, even to relocate to a foreign country, to faraway place, because of the triple manifesting power of those 3 planets in your 12th house, of faraway relocations, or you can manifest something in foreign country, like foreign investment, or doing business in a foreign place, That's another way it can manifest in the positive triple manifestation in the 12th house. It can start some research. You can have some great results from research or studying something spiritual like astrology, doing deep digging and researching and studying. Deep insights, psychological, emotional, profound insights. The two planets of wisdom, they're very wise planets, Saturn and Jupiter, and Mercury, which is to understand it with your human mind, are there. So some gems of spiritual information, and not only spiritual, you might be a scientist, a researcher, can have like download moments, almost like a deep penetration and understanding. I can tell you, I had Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury in Capricorn last year, and this was when I had such deep, profound realizations in the sphere of astrology. It was just like I was connecting with the invisible world and downloading. Also, if you're creative, artistic people, you can manifest powerfully some creative idea for the next 2 months because of Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter triple manifestation in your 12th house. The world of ideas and imagination. It will be, people might look at you and see and think, oh, she's not doing anything. She's just sitting there quiet, because 12th house is very quiet, isolated. But inside of you, it's like a whole universe. The ideas, the possibilities, everything. It's like your inside, you'll be on fire. Things are coming, you know. So give yourself a lot of time alone, because such inspirations, you'll connect to the invisible world, which is a 12th house. Even your guardian angels and whatever it is up there that takes care of our higher self or our teachers, they'll be able to connect with you. And it might not be like they come, oh, we come in peace, you know, with wings and stuff. No, it's more like ideas coming to you, like inspiration, imagination. So do it, you know, and it won't be still time to start them. Might not be, you might start preparing for them. But you can manifest in those 12th house, for example, in creative, in imaginative, or in business, if you're a spiritual business, healing business. If you have prisons, if you have business in some kind of a retreat or spa or healing of some sort, you know. This can manifest, or it can manifest for you the positive side of the 12th house, which is going on a retreat or going to a spa or going to some meditation, whatever, or going on a binge. 12th house is self-undoing vices, but it seems like you're gonna like it. So for going on some or something, you might start preparing something behind the scenes for some future things, you know. That's another manifestation of the 12th house. So there you go. Thank you so much. That was a long one. Hope it was helpful. I love doing those, especially I love the first part always, when we talk the general influences. Thank you. Check out, I'm again lowering down just for 10 days, the 12 signs and the 12 signs videos for 2021, 2 hours for each sign, and also the calendar, 130 pages. Thank you.